Well, it's the morning after the night before, and I don't know about you, but I am full of regret. Regret that I even bothered watching the game last night and watching over 200 minutes of football across both legs where Celtic couldn't even score a goal against Kairat Almaty, let alone qualify for the Champions League. You reap what you sow. I used that quote last week, and we follow up today with that exact same quote. Celtic will reap what they sow, because now we have less than 6 days to get our act together ahead of a Europa League campaign. Let's talk about that. How are we all doing this afternoon? It's good to see you, or is it? I don't know if you even want to watch me this afternoon. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all for the support recently on the channel, and thank you for everybody's participation in last night's live stream. We have a few things to go over today, including the Europa League possibilities for Celtic and some fresh transfer rumours as Celtic look to shortchange another club for a player they're interested in. Yep, it's all getting very, very tiresome, and I sadly need to talk about it. I'm absolutely scunnered, I'm not going to lie to you. I was actually just hoping to take a day off today and just no talk about anything, just erase last night's game from my memory and try to kick on tomorrow with a little bit more positivity, if that was even possible. But nonetheless, there's transfer news to talk about, and what's the point in locking myself away in a cave to pretend last night didn't happen? You know, we need to just take it on the chin and we need to move on. I'm not going to talk about last night's game in depth. It was a shambles. The position that we're in is a shambles. And I've basically said everything I have to say in last night's match reaction. God, we spoke for nearly an hour on my live reaction last night. So if you want to know all of my thoughts and hear all of my grievances being aired, go and check that out. We're going to try and move away from the game last night and talk about moving forward. For as depressing as that might be for some people, it sadly has to be done, and we'll start with the Europa League reality that Celtic face. And I just want to make it very clear before I move into the next segment, if I seem a wee bit more down than usual, if the video isn't to the same standard as it usually would be, then oh well, I'm taking a leaf out the Celtic board's book. You can just half-arse things these days. Now, following our loss to Kairat Almaty last night, Celtic will take part in the Europa League this season, which means the situation looks a little bit like this. Here are the projected pots for the 2025-26 Europa League campaign, and Celtic will be a pot 2 side heading into that league phase draw. Now, of course, there is a massive asterisk over this set of teams right now because it's not final, it's not set in stone that these are all the teams taking part in the competition. We will know exactly how this looks come the end of tonight when the qualifiers finish up, but this is probably as realistic as it can get in terms of projecting who will be in the Europa League. And there's a lot of good teams there, a lot of teams that you would expect to beat, but hey, listen, if you can't beat Kairat Almaty, my hopes for the competition against any of these teams are set pretty low as things stand. As you can see, clubs as big as AS Roma in pot 1, Porto, of course, former Europa League champions, Aston Villa, who we took on last year in the Champions League. Those are some of the sides in pot 1. Pot 2 has the likes of Young Boys, who we came up against in last year's Champions League, Lyon of France, and then below us in pots 3 and 4, some good teams as well. Of course, Bologna, one of Italy's top sides last season, and Nottingham Forest, who got into the competition via technicalities. Pot 4 presents some interesting challenges in the likes of Celta Vigo and Stuttgart in Germany. So some big teams across all 4 pots of the competition. And I think that some people will already be painting out their best and worst case scenarios, but ultimately I don't think there is an easy draw here. I think that Celtic will probably have a challenge no matter what, especially with this current side, especially after the performances we've seen across both legs against Almaty. I don't think you can blame supporters for being a little bit low in confidence and expectation right now. And I don't mean to be doom and gloom, but that's just the way things are. I've seen a lot of people talking about, oh, Celtic have a good chance of going a run if they're in the Europa League. A run. The run that we'll get is if Oscar Pistorius was to take off his fake legs. We aren't getting a run in this competition as things stand. This team is so far off the mark, and I really don't see it happening. So, yeah, that is what we're looking at right now. And, yeah, we'll see what the draw presents us with on Friday afternoon. On that note, the draw will take place on Friday at 12 p.m. Lunchtime is when we'll find out who Celtic face. Remember, the draw works the exact same way as the Champions League did last year. We will play 8 games against 8 different opponents. There will be a league phase where the top 24 qualify, with the top 8 automatically going through to the last 16. There is no differences to how the Champions League and Europa League work. It is just a matter of dropping down a full competition because of an incompetent board. And talking about an incompetent board, wait till I tell you what's happening today, because Celtic are moving for a winger option, but we have bidded half the amount of money that the club selling are looking for. Yep, that's right. Surprise, surprise. Not even going to beat around the bush. Let's just get into this one. Because here are the reports that came out of Sweden this afternoon that Celtic have made an offer for Sebastian Tenekti, who is currently applying his trade at Hammarby in the Swedish top flight. The Tunisian national team winger, Norway born, is now subject of a bid from Celtic of apparently 33 million kroner. Now, we'll come on to details in a moment because there has been some mixed reporting about him. But yeah, it looks as though Celtic have went for this as their winger option, or this man as their winger option, upon exit of the Champions League last night. And yeah, we're trying to give them less money than what they want. Surprise, surprise. So massive credit to Mark Hendry and Seltzer here, who expanded on this afternoon by saying that Celtic have apparently offered a bid of £1 million. However, Hammarby are wanting £1.8 million. Yep. We've offered £1 million for a guy whose club want £1.8 million. £800,000 of a difference when we have 5 days left in the transfer window. It's a familiar story. I mean, it's happened all window. Can I even act surprised at this point? No, not at all. Celtic want player. Celtic bid half of what club wants for player. Celtic will miss out on player. That seems to be the way things go. I'm just scunnered at this point. Like, I feel like I'm wasting my breath. And I think that Celtic will probably go in with an improved offer for the player. I don't think we're that far off the mark to come to some agreement here. And I'm not going to, lose my rag over this when it might end up happening. But it is just so tiresome that this whole window has been conducted in this fashion. And this is the situation we found ourselves in. We are going for a guy, and I mean this with all due respect to Sebastian, who we'll talk about more in a moment. This clearly wasn't Celtic's first choice as a winger. This clearly wasn't Celtic's first choice on any list across the board for a target. The fact that we're only hearing about him, for the first time after failing to qualify for the Champions League says everything. A few days ago we were talking about Calvin Stengs, who was much better on paper, who was a much higher calibre of player on paper. And now this is where we are, going for players in the region of £1 to £2 million. We should have been spending millions on a winger this summer. And here we are, spending £1 million. I'm just done wasting my breath about it. What is there to say that I haven't said? And I think one of the big problems is that his stats aren't going to win a lot of people over, and it's just going to annoy people more. Now, if I can offer any consolation from what I've done in my reading, he seems to be a really talented young player. A guy who's a real standout for Hammarby at this moment in time, and maybe the stats don't paint the full picture with him. After all, football isn't run on stats, but it's not going to help. It's not going to win over Celtic fans and convincing Celtic fans that this is the way we should be going. We sold Nicholas Kuhn, who had 30 goal involvements last year, for £16 million, and apparently we're going to replace him now with a £1 million winger that has, or a £2 million winger that has 6 goal contributions to his name in a league campaign this season. It's simply not good enough. It's not going to win a lot of Celtic fans over. But this is the situation this year. Currently on 20 appearances, 1 goal, 5 assists in the league. He is capped for the Tunisian national team. I did say that he was born in Norway, but he plays for the Tunisian national team. Formerly of Bodo Glimt. Yet his stats aren't anything marvellous, as you can see. A goal this season. Last season in the Elitserien, he managed to get 4 goals and 3 assists. You go back to his time at Bodo Glimt as well, he was not really in the goals much. He's not exactly screaming out top player, is he? And the worst part about it is, if you look here, he's more of a left winger than a right winger. This isn't the Nicholas Kuhn replacement. It's not. So are we going to play Balikwisha, who's naturally a left winger, on the right? Are we going to play Maida on the right? Are we going to persist with Forrest on the right? I don't know what the plan is. I'm scunnered. I'm absolutely scunnered. And I don't want to take it out on young Sebastian here, who, if he does sign for Celtic, I hope he does well. But nothing is painting a good image for us here. Nothing at all. And I know there will be so many people saying, oh, Ryan, you're just being miserable for the sake of it. Maybe I am. But this is where we've left ourselves. We could have prepared for the Champions League. We could have made good signings. We could have spent money. And instead now we're going to the bargain bucket. And now we're signing players who are quite clearly nowhere near the calibre that we need on paper. So this is reality now. From talking about a potential bid for Calvin Stengs days ago to this. This is the path we've chose to go down. Through negligence at the club, we've self-inflicted ourselves into this situation. Yep, we'll see what happens. Will Celtic improve on that initial bid of £1 million? Big ask, isn't it? Big ask. On a more positive note, Michel Balikwisha has reportedly completed his medical in London ahead of his move to Celtic, which could be finalised today. We could have an announcement as early as tonight. I think the club will hold off until tomorrow if I'm going to hedge my bets, just because of a lot of the negativity that's spiralling at the moment, and just because the time to get him up the road, to get him signing a contract, to get him photographed and get all that done, I think it might be tomorrow, but it could be as early as tonight. It looks as though that's about to finally happen. He needs to come right into this Celtic side. Quite frankly, needs to be the best player I've ever seen at this point to bring any positivity to the support, but we'll wait and see what happens. Michel Balikwisha is signing imminently. Okay, quick fire news to get through before I end off today's video, and we'll start with a bit of a surprise that surfaced this afternoon, and that is to do with Yang, because reports down in Birmingham are suggesting that Birmingham are interested in Yang, and they want to make something happen. He's a target for them. They're eyeing up Yang in this final week of the transfer window. Now, this came from Neil Moxley, who is a writer for foreverblues.com. When it's usually these kind of fan-led outlets, I take everything with a pinch of salt. I'm not discrediting them by any stretch of the imagination, but I would wait to see if anything else comes out about this to get excited about a Yang departure. However, on that note, I would drive the boy down myself if I need to. Yeah, apparently Birmingham are interested. We'll see if that amounts to anything, but it's the first it's the first we've heard this window since the potential Norwich interest that existed a month or so ago. So yeah, Birmingham are looking. We'll see what happens. But after his performance last night, I think plenty of Celtic fans would be happy to see Yang go. And Mitchel Frame has left the club for Aberdeen. Now, you might have forgotten that Mitchel Frame was even still at Celtic, but he was part of the B team setup. He joins Aberdeen on a 4-year contract, so best of luck to him on his move to the Dons. Not surprised at all. Good for him, getting a move where he'll go and play football, and who knows, maybe paths will cross again one day if he develops into a decent enough player. But I think that is a necessary step at that stage of your career, and a smart move for himself. So yeah, best of luck to Mitchel Frame. Right, and that's it for now anyway, and I think things are going to be very, very hectic over the next 24 hours, so I better get moving. I better get this video uploaded, and we'll move on to the next one, I suppose, after this. But apologies if I've seemed a wee bit more down today than usual. Positive Ryan, optimistic Ryan is in his grave right now, so need to do some grave digging to get him back. We'll see how things go. Right, take care of yourself, and I'll see you all next time.